Good afternoon. We're back here with TB Survival. There's my Kevin. I'm TB. What I'm doing, I'm working on my brother-in-law's knife here. Still building this knife. You can make quick bush knives like I usually do in a lot less time, but with this, when you're making a customer knife or something like that, you should always buff them out nice and clean them up good, which I will. Now, what I've come on here to talk about today is that I've got a new deal running that I think will work for everybody. That I could make them a little cheaper than what I've got priced up there if I got to buy the steel. If you want a knife built, I'll build them for half price. All you'd have to do is send me the steel, the lawnmower blade, the steel from wherever you get your steel. You know, if you can get a piece for nothing and send it to me, I'll build that knife half price. I don't mind doing that either way. It just saves me having to buy the steel. That's what costs so much is the steel, really. And I've got the time. And I can make all kinds of knives, any kind of knife you want, machete. Now, I haven't got my machete box set up yet on my forge, which I'll take you outside in a minute to show you what I'm about to do. I couldn't get a belt sander today in town. There wasn't none to be had. It's sold out of. Can you believe you couldn't find a belt sander in the whole town? I used to have a belt sander, but the motor went out on it. It was a little table model that it rolled around and it was good. You could hold you could get any shape on the wood you want that you rasp down with it, sand it down, they call it. I call it rasping because I've always used a knife and a rasp more so than any other tool anyway for working down my wood. I've made many different projects, from cabinets, gun cabinets, to cedar chests, beds. Yeah, I can cut out a bed frame pretty as you please. I can build furniture. It's just that I don't have the shop to do all that. I have a smaller, projects and all that furniture making stuff. So I decided to go into doing this for a while and see how it turns out. But like I say, if you want a knife build, if the customer decides they'd like a knife like this or any style you want, as long as it ain't a pop-out. I can't build pop-outs. I don't have the fancy springs or gadgets and all the stuff that some of them might know how to build. I've never built those kind. All I've ever built was these straight handled knives. I don't even build folding knives. But I wanted to show you what I got so far. I've been polishing on these blades some. It's still got scratches in it, as you can see, so I need to get a belt sander to work that out there. Now this evening, in order to cure this green grain, it's still a little bit green, and keep it from dry cracking and stuff. I'm about to show you what I'm going to do about that. I'm going to take it out there and antique the wood, as I call it, when I build my campfire in just a minute for cooking my supper on. I think we'll have some steaks and maybe some taters this evening. I don't know, but I'll fix up something here a little bit. But when I get my fire's burning down, and take a pair of pliers, as long as I don't get the steel too. All you want to do is just barely char the wood. Just char it good all over. Just like you would if you was charring your arrowhead. I'm just going to char this wood, and that will dry this out a little quicker. No bigger piece of wood than that is. It's not entirely green, but it's partially green. You see that sap? You can see it still coming through the wood. So I used a little bit on the green side, and it wasn't cured, in order to keep it from drying and cracking and stuff. That's what I'm going to do about it. Take it out there and char it, and it will stop that. It'll dry that wood plumb out when you char it. Then it'll look antique like it's been on this knife 100 years. This handle will, and if I varnish it, it'll stand out really pretty. You know, there's several ways you can do it. And there's no wrong way, really, to make a handle. I have a patent on these teardrops. I've had this patent since I was about 7. And it's called a teardrop. Let me get over here and show you that. That's a teardrop, and I put a patent on it way back when I was 7 years old. Had these a long time. I like this teardrop because that, by having what I call the teardrop there, That keeps your hand from slipping off the back. I call this particular style of knife a wave runner, because it kind of waves there, as you can see, and it's got waves in the pattern of where I was grinding on it, so I call it a little wave runner. And it is kind of like a wave runner. It's very light, and it's a lot more, well, it's a lot more secure than the one I built myself. I like the way that this handle went on when I got the proper stuff to drill a handle out. I drilled this out. I needed a drill press really, but I used a hand steel drill. And just to show you what you can do with power tools that you could not do if you were, the only other way you could do it would have been to burn the center out of a piece of wood, but you'd have left it big enough before cutting it out in order to keep from running your handles. And then cutting your handle out of that with that hollowed out centerpiece. But you'd have to hollow out a piece of wood first, and if you hollow it out too big, then it won't fit the knife. So I had to make the knife fit the handle even, and it was still, the tang was a little big, so I ground it down some more to fit it, and now it fits in there just fine. And there's no play, it's not loose, it's snug, it's a good fit. You know, it's not going nowhere. And whenever I get done, you know, charring it, as I call it, antiquing this wood over the open flame, then I can bring it in here again and let it cool, let it dry for a few days. Then I can either put some linseed oil on it, or I can take and put some varnish on it. Varnish would make it stand out, or a pair of, you know, coat, some type of wood coating at least to protect the wood. Then we got to concentrate on finishing up the blade. The blade is razor sharp. It can be used like it is. It's ready for use, but it's just not very pretty. See, it's still got, let me get it up here and see, it's just not very pretty is what I mean is, still got oil spots in it, you know, and some rough stuff to work out with that scratches and stuff when I ground off some of that with a grinder and a wire brush I've hit it with. Well, it's not exactly a regular wire brush. It's a wire brush on the end, plugs into my drill. And when I fastened it in there, you run that wire brush down, it cleaned it up, yeah, but you left scratches. So that's okay for me or for someone in the bush to use. But if you're gonna, my uncle reminded me the other day, if you're gonna make something for the public to use, make it nice and make it usable. He had a point. I was just gonna make them like I do in the bush and just make a bush knife and let it go at that, you know, because I don't never polish them out for myself. But being that you're paying, that someone wants to pay $60 for a knife like this, I should polish it out for you. The steel and everything, it should be done right. And I'm going to from now on. I haven't made any yet for anybody anyway, and so it's not a big deal. But in the bush, you won't be having the tools, is what I was teaching, because I'm so used to doing everything in the outdoors survival, day to day, that I just didn't think nothing about it, you know, being as cheap as I was on the knives, I didn't think about that I should shine them up. But they look better when you do, and you are selling them a new knife just made, so it should be cleaned up and done right, so I will, on every knife that goes out of here. But the other thing I was intending to talk to you about, I might have a while ago mentioned it. If you want a knife made and you can't afford my steel and my, you know, and for me to make you one, for instance, if you want, you can just send me some steel that you want it made out of, a pattern in the mail, and I'll do it for half price because you furnished your steel and you furnished the pattern that you want it made like. You know, the pattern can be drawn out on a piece of cardboard, whatever you want made, and I can do that for half price. So for this knife being with the name and everything on it, $75, I could do it for $35 bucks. You furnishing your own steel and stuff. I think that's not a bad price, and you get your name put on. If you don't want a name on it, $30 bucks. How's that? Just tell me what you want, and I'll build it if you want me to. Oh, this crazy old vise. I need a new vise. This old vise been through the mill with me, and it's a good one. It's been a good one, but